Hello running humans, I am Jen of fairestrunofall and I am going to get ready to film a different video, but while I do that I thought I would tell you about the time in my recent half marathon when I almost let the car get stolen. That was a good time, so let's get into it. So I've been in North Carolina pet sitting for my parents, and while I do that they let me use their car for whatever I need to get done while I'm around. They have had a Jeep Renegade for several years now, but they recently decided, what with one thing and another, it was time to pull the trigger on getting an electric vehicle. So they got a Honda something. I'm actually not even sure, I haven't looked at it. And it's a car that I clearly do not drive. I only drive the Jeep. I really like it and I'm comfortable with it. I stick with what I know. As you know, if you watched my other video about getting ready for the race, I did the Run Sunset Beach half marathon while I was down here. And that race takes place about 50 minutes away from where we are. So I needed to drive. The night before, I checked everything out with the car, made sure that we had sufficient gas, that the heat was already on, that I had the map preloaded for directions to the parking site for the race. I had the keys all set out. I had everything ready to go. So I got up in the morning, I got ready, I went out to the Jeep, got into the Jeep, everything was good, drove down to the race. I got down to the parking area, directed to park, everything was fine. There was a long line for parking, but not too bad. I got there about 10 minutes after parking began with volunteers. Thank you, volunteers, if you were at that race. I parked the car, got out of the car, walked over to the staging site for the race. There was a trailer where you could pick up your bib if you hadn't gotten it at the expo the day before, or I guess it was more bib pickup. I don't think it was really big enough to call it an expo. But since the race was so far away, I elected to pick up my bib on race morning. So I did all that. I walked down there, I get my bib. It was pretty cold, so I walked back to the car. I wanted to drop off my race shirt, obviously, and then I just hung out for a bit. I made sure that the key was in my pants pocket, obviously, don't want to lose that. And then I put my race fuel in the same pocket on top. So the race started, everything was good. Every couple of miles, I would stop to take a fuel packet. And as I did so, I checked for my keys to make sure that they hadn't somehow inexplicably slipped out of my pocket, which it's like a deep capri pant pocket. Logically, it's not going to happen, but I have a lot of anxiety, so I wanted to make sure each time that the key was still there. Don't want to get back to the car and discover that I'm locked out, especially since there's no one home. I mean, there are people that I know in the area who I could conceivably ask for help, but it's so far away, I didn't want to put anybody in that position. Avoiding the mess entirely, just making sure I have the keys. The point is, I was keeping very close track of these keys. So I finished the race successfully. It was not my best work, but neither was it my worst. Finished, got my medal, everything was good, but I didn't have time to hang around. As I said, I'm down here to pet sit, so I needed to make sure that I got back in time to walk the dog. He does have puppy pads here that he knows that he can go in if he needs to, but of course it's better to walk him. So technically the race does offer beer and barbecue for afterward, although I've never really understood the barbecue thing that seems to be so popular. I don't know if that's a North Carolina or a Southern thing. We've had it happen sometimes in Maryland too. There was one race I did, the Parks Half Marathon, where they'd have like an Italian spread, but it's like 9 in the morning. People are eating it, so obviously I'm in the minority here, but I've just never had the yen for heavy food after a race. I feel like the snack boxes make more sense, but I think a lot of people would disagree with me. I do sometimes enjoy a post-race beer, especially a free one. Who doesn't like free stuff? But as I said, I need to get directly under the road, and while I don't think a single beer would put me over any kind of alcohol limit, why take chances, you know? I immediately go straight to a porta potty because I have a bit of a drive ahead of me. I pee real quick, walk back to the car, get in the car. All's right with the world. I've got my water bottle, my medal. So I toss those two things down onto the passenger seat of the car. I look down and what do I see but the keys to the Jeep. What do I have in my pockets? What have I got in my pockets? What do I have in my pockets? What I have in my pockets is the key to the Honda. The entire time I have been obsessing over the wrong car key, and I left the key to the Jeep, the key to the actual car itself, in the car. If any enterprising thief had been like, there's a race day, I'm just gonna go wander around all of the race parking and check for people who have left their cars open, they could have just taken my car. They could have taken my car. I had my wallet in there. I need to fly home. That had my ID. That would have been a whole mess. I was so freaking careful this whole time, and I had the wrong car keys. Well, I should back up, because in case you are confused because you are younger or older, or I don't know, in case you're confused, in these modern newfangled cars, if you only have an older one, as I do, the keys are not what you might think of as your standard issue keys. I'm all out of sorts over this. I need to do concealer first. Not really sure where that particular spot came from. It's very exciting. In case you have an older car and or are old-ish, medium. If you're medium, like me, and you're not really sure how I could possibly have gotten into and out of the car with the wrong car key, these modern newfangled cars have keys that are not, like, you don't insert them in the standard traditional key fashion. There's really no PG way to create a hand motion for that. I'm going to assume you know what I'm talking about. But for these keys, they're largely proximal. Like, you don't even stick it in the ignition. You don't stick it in the door, and you don't use it to start the car. The car senses that it's with you, and it lets you open the door, and it also lets you press the button that turns on the engine. So, because the Jeep's key was in the car, the Jeep sensed that the key was in fact in the area, namely was in the car, and it therefore enabled me to open the door every single time, to start the car each time, and I was therefore none the wiser. I just assumed that it was opening and turning on because I had the key in my pocket, when in fact the entire time it was the Honda key. And this is yet another way the march of progress is heading in the wrong direction. I like the old keys. The mechanical mechanisms meant that you couldn't, like, run out of battery or anything. So in conclusion, if you have ever erroneously thought to yourself, Jen sure is clever. I don't know why you necessarily would have thought that, but if you have, know that I'm not really. At least not in practical matters. I got a lot of big ideas. I don't have a lot of street smarts, obviously. Thank you to the people of Sunset Beach, North Carolina, for not being, well, I guess not even for not being thieves, for not being opportunistic even, because I left that wide open, and thankfully nobody, eyelash weirdness. Luckily, nobody took me up on my stupidity. So yeah, good for me. The good thing is that there were ultimately 0 consequences to my tremendous blunder, and I am now very much more on guard. You wouldn't think I would need to tell this to myself, but apparently I do always make sure that the key that you're holding on to is in fact for the car that you intend to drive. Say what you will about Run Disney, at least they take care of transpo. Ooh, I did a pretty decent job on my eyeliner today. Right, so that is my ridiculous race morning car story. I'm just glad that I made it out of that alive. Thank you for hanging out with me as I got ready for a different video. I will meet you over there for that one eventually. I'm not sure what order I'm going to publish things. And yeah, if you enjoyed this silly little romp through my foibles, then please do like and subscribe. If you did not, then don't, and I will see you in my next video.